Welcome to Talking Water, our monthly segment where we discuss all things water and wastewater, brought to you by our sponsor, our regional authority, East Gippsland Water. Hello and welcome to Talking Water, our regular segment where we talk all things water and wastewater with the team from East Gippsland Water. Today's the first for the program, and for 2026 I'm joined by Judd Boeker, Manager, Compliance and Technical Services at East Gippsland Water. Judd, welcome to Talking Water. Great to have you on for the first time.
Thanks, Damian. It's great to be here and good to finally make it onto the show.
Now, February's been a very busy month across the region, particularly with bushfire activity in some of our water supply catchments. When fires happen, people naturally start asking questions about their drinking water. What sort of impacts can bushfires have on water quality?
Yes, that's a really understandable concern. After fires, especially when we get rain, ash, soil and debris can wash into rivers and streams. That can make the water look cloudy, what we call turbidity or high turbidity. And we've seen some of that recently in parts of the Mitchell River catchment.
Thanks, Judd. So when that happens, what does East Gippsland Water do?
If the river water doesn't meet our quality standards, we simply stop pumping from it. We rely on our water storages instead, which gives us a really important buffer. The key thing for people to know is that the drinking water remains safe. We're constantly monitoring water quality, and those checks are happening whether there are bushfires, storms, or just normal day-to-day operations.
Thanks, Judd. Now, some people also ask about firefighting, things like water bombing and foams. Does that possess a risk to water quality?
It's a good question and one we hear a lot, and it's becoming more frequent in question. The risk from firefighting chemicals to our drinking water supplies is assessed as low. We're currently carefully looking at where water bombing has occurred and what materials were used, and we factor that into our monitoring and decision making. If there were ever any concerns, we'd act straight away to cease harvesting and then monitor.
So what if those cloudy conditions in rivers were to hang around for a longer period?
Yes, that's where our treatment systems come into play. If high turbidity were to persist, we have options. Water can be stored in basins to allow particles to settle, and we can apply additional treatment processes, including filtration through systems like DAF, DA, FF and sand filters before the water ever reaches customers.
Now, you've just mentioned DAF there. That's probably not a term that most listeners hear every day. What is DAF in plain English?
Yes, DAF stands for Dissolved Air Flotation and Filtration. In simple terms, it's a treatment process that helps remove fine particles from water when it's dirty or cloudy. What it is tiny air bubbles attached to those particles so that they can be separated out, and the water is then filtered before it moves through the rest of the treatment process. It's one of the extra tools we can use if river water stays affected for a longer period after things like bushfires or heavy rain.
Thanks, Judd. So if the river looks a bit like chocolate milk after a storm, that doesn't mean it's heading straight to the tap.
Another good question. The Mitchell River catchment is a multi-use catchment, meaning the community has access to bushwalk, fish, four-wheel drive and so on. We all have a part to play in minimising disturbance to vegetation and soil. If the water quality in the river isn't right, based on many factors including colour and turbidity, we can pause pumping, store water, let particles settle and apply additional treatment like DAF and sand filtration. There are multiple layers of protection before any water reaches customers.
Well, that's very reassuring. And having storage available really helps, doesn't it?
It does. Having storages in good shape gives us flexibility during events like bushfires, storms or other catchment issues. It allows us to be cautious without compromising supply.
Now, looking a bit more broadly, East Gippsland Water has been talking about climate impacts and long-term planning.
Yes, our long-term water outlook shows that while water restrictions are unlikely this summer, we're heading toward a warmer and more variable climate. That means more extreme events over time, which is why planning, monitoring and resilient infrastructure are so important.
Even without restrictions, you're still encouraging people to use water wisely.
That's right. Permanent water saving rules apply all year round. Over summer, we've been running our Water Conservation Doesn't Take a Holiday campaign because demand naturally increases at this time of year, especially with visitors in the region. Small everyday actions really do add up.
Now, on a slightly different tact, another campaign people may have noticed over summer is around wet wipes.
Yes, we launched our wet wipes campaign in December because blockages spiked during the holiday period. Even wipes labelled flushable don't break down properly. They block pipes, damage pumps, and can cause sewage overflows into streets and waterways. We spend tens of thousands of dollars every year fixing that damage, so our message is simple. Don't flush them, bin them instead. Only the 3 P's should go down the toilet, Damian. Pee, poo and paper.
Thanks, Judd. And with holidaymakers around, that message becomes even more important.
Yes, absolutely. Summer puts extra pressure on both water and sewer systems. Using water wisely and keeping the wrong things out of the toilet helps us maintain reliable services for everyone.
Thanks, Judd. Before we wrap up, what's the key message you'd like listeners to remember this month?
I'd say 3 things. 1, your drinking water is safe and carefully managed even after bushfires. Water conservation number 2 doesn't really take a holiday. And 3, binning wet wipes instead of flushing them is one of the easiest ways people can help protect the sewer system and the environment.
Very good advice and a great first appearance on Talking Water. Thank you so very much for joining us this morning, Judd.
Thanks, Damian. It's been great to be on.
Talking Water is recorded and produced in the studios of Radio East Gippsland, REG FM.